The gentleman from Texas, Mr. Fallon, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Marr, do you believe that National Public Radio takes a balanced and fair approach to news, politics, culture, et cetera?
Mr. Fallon, thank you for the question. I came into National Public Radio with
I apologize. It's just that we have such limited time. Do you believe that to be true?
I believe that we have work to do. We always do in order to improve and to serve all Americans.
More accurate than not that you're fair, or you're either fair or you're unfair. So what do you think you are?
I believe we wake up every day with a desire to be fair, and it is part of why.
You're not claiming that you're fair. You have a desire to be fair. Okay. So you would not describe NPR as objective and nonpartisan?
I would.
You would, okay. Ms. Kerger, same question for you. Would you believe the PBS is fair and objective and nonpartisan?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the quick answer, too. So I found it interesting that the CBP's recent goal was to promote efforts that ensure fact-based journalism that promotes a symphony of ideological viewpoints. You both agree with that goal?
Yes.
All right, wonderful. So, Ms. Kerger, in 2023, when PBS had a program, Washington Week with the Atlantic, and when President Biden's mental acuity was questioned, one of the reporters claimed the GOP was lying. Another reporter, Jeffrey Goldberg, who's been in the news of late, described Biden as, quote, mentally acute. Were you aware if there were any dissenting opinions on that program that day?
I don't know from that day. No.
There were not. But fortunately, there was a debate in, I believe, June of 2024, where the American people and the world found out just who was lying: the Democrats, Jeffrey Goldberg, and PBS. Ms. Marr, I'm sure you're aware that Hunter Biden had a laptop.
I am, sir, yes.
Okay. And there were many stories written about said laptop.
Yes, sir.
And in 2020, unfortunately, NPR's managing editor for news refused to cover the story, and he branded it a, quote, waste of time, not a real story, and a distraction. And instead, unfortunately, of NPR investigating, they ran a puff piece that led with, experts say attack on Hunter Biden addiction deepens stigma for millions. It's unfortunate that NPR ignored the Hunter Biden laptop story, but y'all did talk quite a bit about the debunked Russia collusion. Do you know how many times NPR interviewed Adam Schiff about
Congressman,
collusion?
I would love to say that we actually believe we made a mistake on the Hunter Biden laptop story.
And I appreciate that. Thank you. How many times did y'all interview Adam Schiff about the Russia collusion?
I'm sorry, I don't have that number.
It was 25 times. You know how many times NPR interviewed Chairman of this committee, Oversight Committee, Jamie Comer, about the Biden impeachment inquiry, or the Hunter Biden tax evasion and illicit business dealings of the Biden family?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
I believe that's 0, so it's 25-0. Ms. Kerger, you're aware there's a political spectrum. It goes all the way from the far right to the far left and everywhere in between. Would it trouble you to hear that for 6 months there was an analysis done on PBS's NewsHour from June to November of 2023, where they found that far right that term was used 162 times and far left was only used 6 times? Do you find that troubling?
I don't know the study that you're referring to, and I'd be very interested in seeing it and understanding how they came up with those numbers.
Media Research Center did a 6-month analysis, and it's not how you find it. You either say far right or it's terms. Yeah. They use the term far right 162 times, far left 6 times. That's a 96 to 4% skew. You're also aware that you covered the GOP and Democratic national conventions in 2024?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Interestingly, 72% of the coverage of the GOP convention was negative. 88% of the Democratic convention was positive. Shouldn't be surprising when you have anchors like Amna Noat, who described the Republican rhetoric as, quote, outright racism and, quote, echoing white supremacy. Ms. Mayor, NPR, you believe your reporters are fair? You said they're fair and they're working at it.
I believe that they work to be every day, sir.
They're non-biased. And yet, you have the voter registration issue. I mean, we're all human beings. We're all going to see through the world through a certain lens. And are you aware of any Republicans, any registered Republicans in your newsroom?
I couldn't say registered, but I know we have conservatives in our newsroom, yes.
Okay, so the recent registration, when it was looked at, 87 Democrats and 0 Republicans registered.
I found that very concerning,
Yeah,
sir.
I would. Not even 40 to 30 or 50 to 20, 87 to 0. But it shouldn't be surprising when their own CEO says things like, I'm so done with late-stage capitalism, or calls the President of the United States a deranged racist sociopath, or that America's addicted to white supremacy. So billions have gone into both of your coffers over the last several decades. And I understand why Democrats on this committee are going to viciously and vehemently defend you all, because you become a propaganda wing of the Democratic Party. 67% of your viewers and listeners identify as Democrat, with only 12% conservative, and you become a sandbox for leftist propagandists to frolic on taxpayer dime and no more. And when you said in the beginning you're going to promote a symphony of ideological viewpoints, yeah, you do. If you're left-leaning, far left,
The gentleman's
or
time has
remarkably
expired.
Marxist, I yield back.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Fallon. I now recognize a gentleman from Texas, Mr. Gill.